unless it rains. If it rains in Thailand and there's a flood, and the flood wipes out the factory that makes the ceramics which go into my ceramic spark plug, I cannot make my motor cars. I can make the tyres, the engine, the chassis, the windscreen, the steering wheel, the instruments, all of these things, but no spark plugs, no car. So knowing what's going on in your supply chain is absolutely key. So one of the things that I'm going to keep talking about is the importance of data and information. I've already talked about electronic point of sale and big data, assembling data on people's purchasing frequency. But it's also critically important for every element in the supply chain to know exactly what is going on downstream. So staying in touch with the consumer is very important, but also staying in touch with the little factory in Thailand that makes your ceramic spark plugs is also very important. A few other technical terms: vertical integration, backward integration, and forward integration. This is about how organisations try and get closer either to the consumer or the customer, or further back towards the manufacturer. Now, have you all heard of Top Glove? Top Glove. Top Glove make gloves. Rubber gloves. And yeah, thank you, yes, they've just recently announced that they make condoms. And when I was talking to them recently, apparently, this is completely off topic, but apparently they are looking at a new line of condoms, and this is deadly serious, so I'm not making this up. Whiskey-flavoured condoms. So I was fascinated by this, because this is stolen. But it's clearly non-halal, yeah. But the mind boggles, whiskey-flavoured condoms. Oh, I get it. Okay. But for Top Glove, they clearly need rubber. The rubber comes from a rubber plantation. The rubber plantation is either in Malaysia or it could be in Thailand. So backward integration would be if they move back into owning rubber plantations, because then they've got some control over the supply of the raw material. They could also move closer to the consumer by moving into wholesale agents or distributors of medical products, because one of the big purchases of surgical gloves are hospitals, dentists. If you go to a hairdresser, this is probably more for the ladies than for the guys. It's a long time since I've had my hair dyed blonde. But in a hairdresser, you'll see them wearing the protective gloves to protect their hands. So it's a similar idea. Right, so why not get rid of the middlemen? What did I call that? What was the term? Very good. Somebody's listening. Thank you. Disintermediation. So it looks as if it will be a magic idea to get rid of the middlemen. If you look at the prices in terms of, the costs, you've got manufacturing cost, the distributor margin, the retailer's margin, and the price to the consumer. And you can see it goes up from 85 cents up to $2 to the consumer. So it looks like you definitely gain if you could cut somebody out, either deliver directly to the retailers or deliver directly to the consumer. But there's a whole range of things that the retailer does that it's difficult for you to do. One of the main things that the retailer can do is know the customer. So if you've got a particular market segment, say it's young people, and you're a store which focuses on the younger generation, you'll understand how they think, what they want, what will sell, and what tweaks they want. The retailer can have a personal relationship with you. If you're going in to maybe buy shampoo or get your hair cut or buy a new bicycle or whatever, the retailer will know you. It's impossible for a large organisation, a large manufacturer, to know each one of their individual customers individually. Not possible. You can have data on them, but you haven't really got personal relationship. So the retailer can provide a whole range of different goods. So you've got a range of choice. And it can do something called break bulk. Break bulk is also used in logistics and supply chain jargon. Break bulk basically just means breaking things down. So if I'm a manufacturer of cowboy boots, I can manufacture large quantities of boots in brown and black colours and a range of different sizes, and send them all to a distribution centre or a retail centre, and then they will break it down into smaller lot sizes and distribute it to their different stores. So it's efficient for the manufacturer because all they need is a big box full of brown boots size 11, and the retailer breaks it down and says we'll send 10 of these boots to the somewhere Pyramid store, 10 of these boots to KLCC, 10 to Mid Valley, and 3 to Amcourt Mall. So they've done the work for you. The other thing that's good for the manufacturer is that they hold the inventory, so they're taking the risk, if you like, and cash is king. And they've got all sorts of other services where they'll talk to the customer, understand what they want, suggest alterations, or maybe make small amends to the product. Maybe on your cowboy boots you want your initials, and you could probably get the retailer to do that for you. Now I've talked about this already in terms of identifying your target customers, segmentation, targeting, positioning. You need to think about competition. Now, there's a funny thing here, and it's related to location. Now, there are three things that are important in retailing, and hopefully the people, Dennis, Jim, what are the three most important things in retailing? You obviously weren't awake during the lecture. Three most important things in retailing. Location. Thank you, Derek. Location, and location. Those are the three most important things in retail, and you'll hear that all the time. Now, right, I think I might need some assistance here. I'll just demonstrate selling ice cream. So I need two volunteers from the audience. So if Derek and Victor would like to volunteer.
Like to volunteer?
Yeah, thank you very much. Big round of applause for Derek and Victor.
Volunteer, excuse me.
Right, now, Victor, that's all right. Stay where you are. Okay, stay where you are. Right, Victor, if you'd like to go over to the extreme right of the room. Okay. Right, now, these two guys are selling ice cream on a beach. Okay? This is like my job at Chelsea, selling ice cream. Now, if these two guys are selling ice cream, they're probably going to get, well, they will get 50% market share each, yeah? Because everybody on the right-hand side of the room is going to buy from Victor, and everybody on the left-hand side of the room is going to buy from Derek, unless there's some other price difference or differentiation. But if Victor decides to move a little bit to his left, okay, that'll do, right? He now is going to capture a larger chunk of the market, because he's going to get everybody on the right-hand side. He's further away from you guys, but he's still nearer than Derek. So you're going to walk to Victor. Unfortunately, Derek is going to lose some of his customers, and you can already see what he's doing. His best move is to move a little bit to his right. So he moves to his right. Victor now sees what he's doing and thinks, I'm not having that, and he moves further to his left. That's it, it's fine. Derek then realises that Victor's captured all this part of the market, and he's only got the people on this side of the room, so he moves to his right. And eventually, they're right next to each other. And that is why you often see retail stores located right next to each other, because if you go somewhere else, you're going to lose share. So it's exactly this position that's important. Thanks, guys. Now, the other reason that location is important is because customers are very worried about big ticket purchases, all based on a theory. Any psychologists in the room? Any psychologists? Anybody studying psychology? Right, okay. Have you all heard of cognitive dissonance?
Yes.
Good. What is cognitive dissonance?
Heard of it. Cannot explain it.
It's basically where you get very, very upset. So it's where you go out and buy a fantastic dress, and you walk out the shop feeling really happy, and then to your horror you see the identical dress for about $20 US cheaper, yeah? That's cognitive dissonance. For a guy, the big shake-up is when he buys a motor car and his motor car breaks down despite the fact his father told him never to buy that car. And then he looks stupid in the eyes of his father. So for a man, ego involvement in the purchase of a car is very important. Now if you're going to buy something like a guitar, you might go, anybody bought a musical instrument recently? Nobody? Okay. But if you go and buy a musical instrument, you go to a store, you might look at the guitar, so you try them out for the weight and feel, see how the neck feels and what the strings are like, and you'll tap the wood, and you'll think, yeah, this looks quite good. But can I really afford it? Is it the right one? Should I check another shop? So you're not sure, so you say to the salesman, I'll think about it. You all know that kind of experience? I'll think about it. You walk out of the store. Disaster, because that means you may not buy it. Because you're going to get home, as indeed I have done, and said to my wife, I'm going to buy this. And she said, no, you're bloody well not. And we need the money for something else. So other things can happen. You suddenly realise you can't afford it, or the money gets spent on something else. So there's a gap between purchase intention and the actual deed. Now that's bad news for the retailer. So if you've got two musical shops next to each other, you can try the guitar in one shop, go to the next shop, try the guitars there, and say, yes, I definitely prefer the blue one. You walk back to the original shop, and you buy the blue one, and somebody gets the sale. So it's about this gap between purchase intention and the actual deed. Right, now, what time are we taking a break? Don't say now. What time are we taking a break? 9:30. 9:30. Okay, good. So you've got to be very careful thinking about the competition. You want to be close to competition for various reasons, but you need to make sure that you've got a differentiator, a unique selling proposition, something that makes it more likely that people will come into your shop. Now, if you're selling guitars, do you all know what a plectrum is? Plectrum for playing a guitar, yeah? A pick.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Right.
Scottish.
Yeah, language can cause you a lot of problems in retailing. And I've had this many, many, many times. I remember one example of bum crisps. Bum crisps. And actually, I've seen an advert in Malaysia for bum equipment. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Which, in English, is hilarious, because bum means your ass. And it means it's useless and it doesn't work. The other one was the Nova car in Spain, and Nova in Spanish means doesn't go. So who's going to buy a car called doesn't go? The other one, and this is a true story as well. My father-in-law has, well, he has loads of children, but the first four were called Amira, Walid, Al, and Salha. AWAS. He opened up a manpower agency in Indonesia and couldn't understand why nobody wanted to come into his store. This is a true story. It was called Awas. Right, so you've got to identify your competitors. And you've got to think about the trends, the demographics, and the way people are buying and the kinds of things they're interested in. And this makes a massive difference to all sorts of things. To give you a simple example, I can't actually tell by looking at you what your favourite colour is, because you all seem to be wearing a variety of different colours. But have you heard of Benetton?
Yeah.
Right. Well, Benetton sells sweaters, and he doesn't know which colour sweater will sell best. Is it going to be black, or yellow, or blue, or purple, or orange? Now, what they could do is make a pile of purple, a pile of orange, a pile of red, a pile of blue. But huge risk of being out of stock of the one that's selling very well and having masses of the one left over that nobody likes. And there's also problems with colours. In some countries, different colours are not a good idea. Wearing a red sweater to Merdeka Square might not be too clever an idea on certain occasions. So they don't make purple sweaters or red sweaters or blue sweaters or orange sweaters. They make, what colour sweaters do they make? They make white sweaters. White. And then they send them out to their distribution centres, work out which colour's selling well, and then dip them in. Purple dye, orange dye, yellow dye, whatever. It's called postponement. You don't make the final manufacturing decision until the last minute. You postpone it. So you've got to think about your long-term differentiator or comparative advantage. You've got to think about the things that you're making. So going back to the plectrum or the pick, you aren't going to make any money selling picks. But people that buy guitars will break picks quite a lot. So if they keep coming back to your shop to buy a pick, they'll maybe buy their new guitar from you because you've built up a personal relationship. But there's all sorts of other considerations in retail. And this is a topic in Malaysia at the moment. Who thinks this is a good idea? Does anyone think it's a good idea, or is it a bad idea, or what? All right, show of hands. If you think it's a good idea, put your hand up. I want everyone to vote. You either vote yes or no. Is it a good idea? Put your hand up. Right, okay, a few people put their hands up. Does anybody think it's a bad idea? You've got to vote one or the other. Right, what are you voting? Good idea. Okay, right. Now, is it, just think about this for 1 picosecond, this is about as long as it should take you to work it out. Is it a good idea or a bad idea for the retailer? Is it going to increase his costs?
Yes.
Yes. So, on the face of it, it's a bad idea. Could it increase his sales?
Yes.
Yes. Aha. So now we have a problem. It's costly, you've got to manage it, but it could increase your sales. Now, if nobody else does it, then it's not a problem.
Yeah.
But if one supermarket does it, you might find, even though you don't want to, you have to. So you've got to be responsive to what the market demands. To some extent, you can try and shape market expectations and behaviour, but not totally. I'm assuming none of you have got children, is that correct?
Not that we
yet.
know of.
Not yet, okay.
Not that we know of.
But you've all been in a supermarket behind a young mother with 2 or 3 screaming brats. Sorry, 2 or 3 children. What have they got next to the checkout counter? Candy. And it's the I want factor. The kids want it and they scream till they get it. And they know very well they're in a social situation where the mother doesn't want to be embarrassed. If they scream, they get the candy. So that is the manufacturer influencing your behaviour, making you do the things that they want you to do. If you go to Mid-Valley, have you ever tried getting past the food court? You've got to walk all the way around, yeah?
Yeah.
Have you ever, I did this once, just before a Tottenham Hotspur football match. I very stupidly arranged to meet a mate of mine at IKEA on the North Circular Road. IKEA on the North Circular Road has 6 stories. There's one way in, and then one way out. And you can't go reverse flow. It took us an hour to get out, and we were late for the match. Because IKEA forces you to go one way. And there's all sorts of disapproving glances if you try and take a shortcut. Right, couple of the jargon terms, variety and assortment. Variety is the different merchandise categories. The assortment is the different ranges within the SKU, or stock keeping unit. Right, now, just say a bit about franchising. 7-Eleven in Malaysia is owned by Vincent Tan, who also owns Cardiff City. It's very efficient because it allows you to expand without you investing, and the franchisee will pretty much do what you tell them. So you can make a lot of money out of it. Do you think Starbucks in Malaysia, do you think the guys that operate those stores make a lot of money? No, they don't. The shopping mall makes the money, and the franchisor makes the money. The franchisee is usually paying huge rent, salaries, materials costs, and making pretty slim margins. So the people that make money from coffee are not the retailers or the coffee farmers. They are Starbucks and the shopping mall owners. Right, so 3 most important things in retailing: location, location, and location. So remember that. Now, when you locate your store, where does Starbucks tend to locate in a shopping mall? Where are they?
Ground floor.
Usually ground floor at the entrance. So on the way in, you can have a cup of coffee and you clock there's a Starbucks there. And when the wife and the husband meet up at the exit and the guy says, "Please, can we go home now?" And his wife says, "No, let's just have a cup of coffee." And We go for a cup of coffee and she says, I'm just going to dip in back into that store to have a look at that purple sweater they had to sell in Benetton. I won't be 5 minutes. Right. So about half an hour later, the guy's now having a croissant and a coffee and he's reading the paper, he's chilled out. He's quite happy. So everybody wins, particularly the shopping mall. Right, now I mentioned RFID, and that's Big Brother watching you. This is also, this probably isn't in your slides, something that Tesco are introducing at the moment. And that's facial recognition software. You can do this on Facebook now. Facebook knows who you are just by looking at you.
One of the world's giant retailers, the British supermarket chain Tesco, is to kick off facial recognition technology to improve its advertising strategy. But privacy campaigners are already sounding the alarm, as RT's Laura Smith explains.
So say it's Thursday morning, I walk into a shop, in it all the usual stuff, plus a special camera that scans my face. It recognises that I'm female and aged between 30 and 45. It then sends that information back to advertisers who collate it to establish a pattern of who goes into the shop. From now on Thursday mornings, customers will be bombarded with adverts for shampoo and fashion magazines. If you think that's something out of a futuristic movie, think again. It's what's happening now. Tesco, the UK's biggest supermarket chain, is planning to introduce facial scanning technology in its petrol stations with a view to targeting advertising at the demographic that uses the shop most at certain times of day. Even the CEO of the company that makes the technology says it's like something out of Minority Report, seemingly not realising that comparing something to a film about the negative effects of having technology and media everywhere is a bad thing. But Tesco defends the practice, saying it's not new technology and isn't capable of facial recognition.
We're always looking to work with partners who provide innovative ways to enhance the customer shopping experience. The ability to tailor content based on time and location means it can be extremely useful and timely for our customers.
All in the name of advertising. Customers' permission won't be sought, and privacy campaigners worry it could be the tip of the iceberg. With technology improving all the time, how long before you're being tracked and identified while you pay for your groceries?
What's the best technique for stealing something from a supermarket? When you go shoplifting, how do you do it? Do you go in pairs or groups or what? It's quite easy in the UK because you just wear a big coat and a scarf and a hat and gloves and you look totally normal. If I walked into Mid-Valley wearing a big trench coat, a scarf and a hat and gloves, they'd think I was a bit weird.
Sir. Forgot your receipt.
Checkout lines. Who needs them?
Have a nice day.
This is the future of e-business.
So basically, you pass through the scanner